to a man who's not exactly known for seeking out the spotlight, but lately has found a lot of attention directed his way. Last month, Boston Police Commissioner Bill Evans found himself at the center of a mayoral battle when City Councilor Tito Jackson hinted he'd likely replace Evans if he unseats Mayor Walsh, comments he expanded on when he joined us right here in Greater Boston.
The Boston Police Department only solves 4% of their non-fatal shootings. In addition, of the 19 young people who were shot under age 17 under the Walsh administration to date, one of those, by the way, was my little cousin. 0 of them have been solved.
Since he announced his candidacy, Jackson seems to have spent more time talking about Evans than his actual opponent. And last night he added to his criticism, this time over his handling, meaning the commissioner's handling, the shooting of a 6-year-old child Sunday night in Roxbury. Commissioner Evans joins me now. Commissioner, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this has been virtually nonstop criticism. We're going to go into the details. Does this bother you?
Well, it does, because, Jim, I know how hard our department tries. I know how much, effort I put into it. And, I hate to see this being a political issue because, violence has never been so low in the city. With the homicide rates, all our violent crime and our Part 1 crime, our arrests are down. Everything's going in the right direction. So in getting the praise that we should be from certain people, I don't know why we're getting such criticism.
Do you take it personally?
I do.
Do you talk to you ever reach out to Councilor Jackson?
Well, again, it's nothing personal between us. I shake hands and, we talk, but you know what? I don't like him beating up our department because I know how hard we're trying, how much we're out in the community, and I'm fearful that him creating this antagonistic attitude towards us well, again, we're working so hard in the community. I don't want to see the rift between us and the community, and we got to all work together.
Do you think it's politically motivated?
Oh, absolutely. I think
his most recent criticism was about your disclosing what he called controversial details following the shooting of that little 6-year-old. I assume what he's talking about is mentioning the father, who has a criminal record, may have been targeted. How do you respond to that?
Jim, I do it every time.
Meaning what?
Saying whether we believe the person is targeted or not. And the reason doing that is, I don't want people having fear in their neighborhoods. And if people are thinking that young people or anyone's getting shot because, basically just randomly walking down the street. So it's a way to alleviate fear. And so there's a reason why I'm saying that. And I wouldn't say it, Jim, unless I had absolute proof that, and my officers told me that.
When Tito Jackson was here, we did discuss, he said homicides are up 30%. In fact, they're up 15%, and he didn't mention it's on the base of the lowest you've had in 15 years. But, Commissioner, the one place where I believe he is right is the clearance rate, the arrest rate for non-fatal shootings is really low.
Well, again,
he says 4% based on a piece in Boston Magazine. You say 14 to 16. Even if it's 16%, that's only 1 out of 6 where there's arrest.
Right. Well, we went into it last night at the meeting. Yeah. It's not from lack of effort, Jim.
What is it for lack of?
It's a lack of cooperation. One of our districts, District 11, they've had 35 shootings recently. 15 of them, the person wouldn't even talk to us. Basically told us, get away from me, I don't even want to talk. And that's the frustration we have. We continually, these individuals who are shot, we fear that there's going to be retaliation. So, it's hard unless you have the cooperation.
Well, what do you say to someone who's scared to death? The assumption is they would want to help you. They want to save community. But I assume they're not convinced you can protect them.
Well, we say to them we will. And again, if we have to put someone there 24/7 to watch their house, we'll make sure they're going to be safe. But it does no good not having the community cooperate because we fear retaliation. And again, we got to work together with the community. I don't like this us versus them. We're all in this together to make the community safe.
Well, speaking of that, you took heat from another source, a quote you gave to something called the Marshall Project, which deals with Army veterans who end up becoming cops. In USA Today, here's a quote from you. Obviously, it's a tough job for a minority, meaning in working in a community of color. They're in a community that really doesn't like them, and they think they're a sellout, Uncle Tom's, the person who's head of something called the Mass Association of Minority Law Enforcement Officers, said it's an ugly comment, a slur. He should apologize. Will you? Should you apologize?
No, absolutely not, Jim.
Why not?
Because, I've been in policing 32 years. I've read quite a bit on the troubles with hiring minority officers. And, one of the big issues in every textbook I've read, every publication, And from talking to Chief Gross and all my officers is basically that's what they say verbatim in these magazines on why officers aren't
Superintendent-in-Chief Gross, we should say, is African-American,
yeah,
for those
Chief
who don't
Gross.
know.
But if you read magazines, if you read the history of why officers don't want to come on, they use those words and that terminology verbatim. So I've read that in more magazines, publications. So I'm just quoting what I read in the studies on why police officers, and that's what they say.
You know, speaking of issues of race, do you watch Saturday Night Live?
Well, not really. I usually get up early for a long run.
Little run, I know.
I hear a lot. Sometimes I bring it up and read what's it, Spicer or whatever that guy's name
Whatever.
is.
No, he works for the president.
Yeah,
but it's close enough. So here's a guy, Michael Che, who does the news, the weekend news thing, talking about Boston right before the Super Bowl. And then here's your boss, Mayor Walsh, on the radio with us, responding to that comment. I want to get your reaction. First Che, then Walsh.
I just want to relax, turn my brain off, and watch the blackest city in America beat the most racist city I've ever been to.
It's disturbing when you hear something like that, and the fact that he has clearly has had bad experiences in our city. I'd love to sit down and talk to him about his experience, what he's experienced in Boston, and try and, I mean, obviously, first of all, talk to him about his experience, but also what he's experienced and what he's talking about, try and fix it. I mean, and try and deal with the issue.
When Che was at BU about a week or two ago, didn't back down, most racist city in America. What's your reaction? You're a South Boston kid.
Well, again, years ago we had issues around busing. I see the city as a united city. We're not perfect, but as I go around the city, you know, the relationships with the police and the community are great. I don't feel that sense, Jim. I think we've come a long way, more than, you know, probably most cities. So I was a little disappointed with that because we're in and around the community and our department gets a lot of positive response. And that's what bothers me about what's going on now in the community. I hate to see that negativity over politics of this race.
And you think that Tito Jackson has helped fomenting that?
Well, I don't know if I'll say he helped it, but it doesn't do any good for me and him to be antagonistic, because we got to work together. The only way we're going to make our kids safe in the neighborhood is that they have the confidence and we come up with programs to make it a safer neighborhood.
We have less than a minute left. Many a time I've spoken to you about your dissatisfaction that Uber and Lyft drivers are not subject to the same fingerprinting. You lobbied for this, you lost on the State House. That taxi cab drivers in Boston, BostonGlobe.com just published minutes for when on the air. 8,000 of 70,000 potential drivers for these ride sharings failed state background checks, which you don't think are even strong enough, but they failed them. Does that make you feel better about what they have to go through, meaning it is as comprehensive as you feared it was not?
No, I'm glad. I commend Governor Baker. You know, I think that was my concern. I knew we had people out there who probably shouldn't be riding Uber, and I think today just really rings true. You know, but I honestly believe, you know, we've fingerprinted all 5,200 of our taxi owners. It didn't take long.
What percentage of them don't pass?
Well, I don't have the exact numbers, but we have eliminated some. But why not take the 3 minutes or 5 minutes it takes to fingerprint to make sure they're all as safe, and all our daughters and wives and everyone who gets in those can be assured of their safety.
Bill Evans, thanks. Good luck with the marathon.
Yeah, thank you.
See you soon.